What is going on, everybody? Hello there, and I hope you are doing quite well. It is great to see everybody. Thank you for joining. If you're joining on chat, no matter what platform you're on, just thanks for being here. And I hope you're having a good weekend. I had a little bit of a weird evening. The kiddos were sick, so stream was delayed a little bit. Everybody's pretty tired in the household. And let's get this show rolling. First of all, hello. I did see your note. I am Chuck Dub. And as soon as I saw it, I knew it was time to get started. Good to see everybody. So a little bit later than I normally have streamed in the past. Did I sell my Xbox? Killy K69 says, no, I have not sold my Xbox. I still have my Series S and my Xbox Series X. And honestly, I'll probably be holding on to these consoles because they might be the final. Wait a minute. Where's my disk drive? They might be the final consoles with disk drives. I just realized I don't have my disk drive attached to my either of my PlayStations. So I was freaking out there for a second. Where did I put it? Did I take it off? I must have taken it off. Anyway, I haven't really had a need for it as of yet, but I should probably pop that back on one of the consoles. Yeah, the consoles have been increasing in price. They're a great investment. Better than the S&P 500. That's what I've been saying. What's your perfect video game? Man, you know what? A game like Mass Effect 1 or Clair Obscur or even the original Assassin's Creed, you know what they all have in common? They were a really unique concept. It wasn't a sure thing. They gave it a shot and it was successful. So I think that's my perfect video game. A video game that really stands out from the crowd like those three did back in the day and made an impression. Even the original Halo C, which we'll be talking about a little bit later in the show, I think that also is probably one of my perfect games. I have a lot of games that I really, really like over the years, including like just thinking on it, like some of my favorite games, the original Mass Effect. I know a lot of people think Mass Effect 2 is the perfect mix of combat and storytelling. I think Mass Effect 1 is the better story through and through. Definitely. Uncharted 2 really stood the test of time. I think it was one of my most praised reviews. That was way back when like Screw Attack was still a thing and I was over there. So Uncharted 2 was definitely one of my favorites way, way back in the day. And then, man, just thinking off the top of my head, I would have to think about it more, but those are two that always come to mind. I mean, Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo was a big game for me in my childhood. So, yeah. Those were all games that I really liked and really, really resonated with me that I ended up really enjoying very much so. But today, the topic is going to be more about some pretty significant interviews. We've had interviews from Phil Spencer, who interviewed with Famitsu. We have an interview with Sarah Bond. She spoke to Mashable. We have an interview with Matt Booty, also, who said some interesting things in his interview. I actually have everything a little bit messed up right now. But no, so that's Matt Booty. So that's Phil. That's Matt. These are my follow-ups to Matt. And then we have where's the Sarah Bond one? Okay, and then we're going to watch the Sarah Bond Mashable video and react to it live, I think. So that's just the top of the show. We also want to talk about how close PlayStation is to breaking their worldwide record for console sales. It'll be the first time they have actually surpassed previous console sales. I don't know how much it will be, but with Xbox basically not super focused on selling Series X and S right now, I do think that there is a good chance that PlayStation could pull ahead. And I will say this, like if one of my friends asked me about what console they should buy, I would say get a base PlayStation 5. I think the base PlayStation 5 for value for what you get, it's phenomenal. And then for Xbox, if you already have a PC, I mean, Xbox just wants you to use the cloud for everything now, and you have access to a lot of your games via streaming. So, or you can just buy them on your base PlayStation 5, especially now that Halo is making its way over there. So, yeah. But I've been talking about that since 2024. Let me actually bring up a clip from not that long ago, because there have been some interesting conversations making the rounds online. And I kind of just wanted to talk about this particular comment. People are like, "Oh my God, you must be reeling from the news." And honestly, I've been talking about it since 2024. So I'm just going to go ahead and play that media source really quick. Hopefully it just goes.
So if you haven't been following, long story short, back in February, there was a lot of concern from Xbox fans about losing any sort of exclusive that they might have previously been hyped for on their specific console or just within the Xbox ecosystem. Well, today I feel like Microsoft made it very clear that they are going to be more aggressive with releasing their games on multiple platforms. As you can see here, Microsoft confirms Indiana Jones is coming to PlayStation 5 after its Xbox debut. Another Xbox exclusive is coming to PlayStation 5 in 2025. Now, the reason this is notable is because back in February, when they were talking about the exclusives that would make their way to other platforms, they said that those games do not include Indiana Jones and Starfield. And now 6 months later, it's very clear that Indiana Jones is one of the titles that were in development for the PlayStation 5 at that time. If you know game development timelines, there's no way that they just spun it up last month and hit file save as PlayStation 5. So that leaves me wondering, was this a big misdirect from Phil Spencer to sort of calm the masses about the potential of not having an exclusive on their console for the holiday season? I would say yes. And I feel like a lot in the community feel lied to. They feel like this is a very strange announcement to have just several months after you had an emergency podcast where you were trying to clarify, hey, we're not going to be releasing all of our games on PlayStation. We're just going to do it here or there. So I've been tweeting a bit about this, and just to collect my thoughts real quick. If you asked me 6 months ago, if I thought we'd see all Xbox games on PlayStation 5 or Switch, I would have said you're crazy. Today, yeah, they're going full slate. Probably not tomorrow, but it seems inevitable. It seems more likely than ever that Microsoft will definitely be releasing more games on multiple platforms. And while in the grand scope of things, that's good for gaming. It's good for gamers that want to play more Microsoft games. It does leave Xbox in a bit of a weird spot. What does that mean for the Xbox ecosystem going forward? You're not going to sell more consoles if you're releasing your tentpole exclusives on another platform just a few months after they were on yours. You're not talking about 2 years like with PlayStation's strategy of getting their games over to PC. You're just talking about a few months. And at that point, it makes your console, even if the next one happens to be the most powerful console ever, like I've talked about in this video, I'll link to up here in the annotations, it leaves people wondering why they should invest in your hardware. Now, I got community noted on one of my posts, or yeah. So here it is. It's not Indiana Jones or Starfield. Phil Spencer on Xbox games going to PS5 February 2024. Context needed. That statement from Phil Spencer was in regards to 4 specific titles going to PlayStation 5, which neither of them was Indiana Jones or Starfield. The fact that the world right now is looking back on these statements, and the Verge interview where Phil basically said, we'll never say never about games coming to other platforms. It was 6 months ago. This isn't the difference between the Bethesda announcement where he said this is about getting exclusive games where Game Pass exists, and now fast forward to today where basically none of the Xbox games that have been made by Bethesda have really been exclusive now that Indiana Jones is going to another platform. The reactions to this are just baffling to me. Phil Spencer feels like Phil Spencer was being misleading, dishonest, and like, I don't want to say lying, but he is using a tactic where he's not saying quite the right thing, so he has a way out of it later on, right? Like, it's a very smart tactic, but at that, I'm surprised more people don't feel misled by those statements.
Okay, so that was way back. In August of 2024. And I have been talking about how after Indiana Jones was announced during the Game Awards, I'm like, oh, it's done. And I've said that basically every stream. I've said that ever since the Indiana Jones thing happened. And then, if you follow people online, you've probably seen some clips where before that, when the first four games were announced, I wasn't sure. I didn't think everything would be coming. I figured they would be, still keeping some exclusives. That has been completely squashed. It's very clear that they are going full slate, just like Satya Nadella said he wanted during the FTC trial, and that is the future of gaming for the Microsoft brand, for better or for worse, right? Now, there's a lot of people who think that's going to be really, really bad. My personal opinion on it is it's very clear that's the direction that they're going, and and that's it. I don't know what else to say. So I've covered off on that multiple times. I just used that video as a reference because I was like, I know I've said I know Halo's coming, and then I watched that. And I'm like, oh, I have addressed this before like a year and change ago at this point. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because everything that I said in that video is what I think some people are experiencing today. But I feel like myself and the Xbox community with that video, we're really at odds. They didn't like that I don't go with when I don't go with the Xbox narrative, Xbox gamers get mad. And I often don't go with the PlayStation narrative, and that makes PlayStation gamers get mad. So I kind of make everybody mad here and there. And we've seen the videos where I'm like Xbox tax and arguing with the community. I'm not afraid to get into it with everybody and just have a conversation about it. But that video was a year and change ago. I know where I've stood on these topics, and I know when I've said stuff and then new information came to light and I came to a new conclusion, like when Indiana Jones came over to the PlayStation platform. I'm like, well, they made such a big deal about that being exclusive. If that one domino can fall, it's all going to fall. It's all done. So that was my take on it. And then it was the question about Halo. It was like, well, okay, are they just going to bring Halo over? I thought it would be a really good fit to bring the Halo Infinite multiplayer over to PlayStation because that could use a big boost, in my opinion. And, once Gears came, once Forza came, once Gears was released on PlayStation, it was over. It was already over with Indiana Jones, and then Gears came. It's like, okay, come on. Are we really that shocked that Halo came at this point? I personally wasn't. And I was a little bit surprised by the reaction online. But there have been all these interviews with Xbox leadership. We're going to read through this one. This is Phil Spencer with Famitsu Magazine. Let's read what he said. We spoke to Phil Spencer about the next console after Xbox, Director Kojima's OD, and the future of the Halo series and other interesting topics. This is translated from Japanese. Famitsu is Japanese. I'm going to do my best. I think we're just going to read through it, and it's going to be a little bit slower paced stream, but we have a ton to get through. When I VOD this out, I like to usually put the links. You know what? Real quick, I am going to bookmark these, so if my browser crashes or something like that, I have them for later. But I like to link out to all my sources so you can read at your leisure later on. And bookmark all tabs. Hopefully that works. All right, so we got that booked for later. Let's go. Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer visited Japan in conjunction with Tokyo Game Show 2025. Phil Spencer, who is known as a big Japan expert, spoke about the upcoming Xbox Game Studios release Beyond the Strand at Kojima Productions' 10th anniversary event. So they're talking about OD. We're just going to go to the quotes. We asked Phil Spencer about his outlook for the future, including topics such as the new information revealed at the Xbox Tokyo Game Show broadcast held on the first day of the show. It translated to FILL, Phil. First of all, at the Kojima Productions 10th anniversary event, footage from Hideo Kojima's best work OD was shown. Can you tell us your impressions of the film? Obviously, machine translated. Apologies. When I spoke with director Kojima about the new game, he shared some very bold ideas with me. He said, I want to make a really scary game. Kojima Productions and Xbox Game Studios are working closely together on both gameplay and technology, and we're moving forward with development. When I saw the trailer at the 10th anniversary event, I was so happy at the high it's how good of quality it was. I'm going to skip ahead to some of the comments about games and what's going on with games, because um I don't think a lot of this, like OD, we've kind of covered off on OD. Here we go. That means Japanese users are spending more time with Xbox. In what ways is it increasing? We're seeing a balanced growth across consoles, PCs, and the cloud. If I had to say, it seems like the importance of PCs is increasing for Japanese players. Also, the fact that consoles, PCs, and the cloud are all growing is in line with their strategy of wanting players to play on Xbox regardless of the device they're using. Yeah, we're going to look at two different segmentation studies in a little bit here to talk about where players are going, what they're spending more time on, and where that Matt Booty quote came from, because it didn't like come from nowhere. I actually know what he's referencing. Let's keep going on. Hearing that makes me wonder if there will be a console after the Xbox Series X and S. Speaking of new hardware, the ROG Xbox Ally will be released on October 16th. This is an Asus product. I think that the hardware that we announced as first-party developers at Microsoft will be the next console. So again, Phil Spencer is confirming that another console is coming. When is the official announcement going to be? It's still to be determined. With the ROG Xbox Ally series of handheld devices arrives and we look at the evolution of cloud and Xbox PC experiences, it's important to note that this product suggests how the Xbox software platform will evolve in the future. Whoa, that was weird. Connecting all your devices in one place. And then they start talking about some of the other games. Long story short, Phil Spencer once again confirms that Xbox is making a next generation console. Sarah Bond came out and confirmed they are making a next generation console. They've confirmed this so many times that every time I see a rumor, like I'm sure in 2 months, we're going to get another rumor that Xbox has completely ditched next gen hardware and that they're just not going to be in the console business. Here's how I see it. The next console, we do know it's going to be very expensive. It's going to be a hugely expensive console and expensive for them to make and manufacture. So I would buckle up for that. Now, it's going to be a PC console hybrid. That's what we're expecting. We do think that the handheld device is sort of the test bed based on some comments from former people at the company, and I would actually agree with that assessment. I think that the ROG Xbox Ally, I didn't charge it, but the ROG Xbox Ally, this thing, it is going to be the test case for what they end up developing in terms, oh shoot. What they end up developing, I didn't break it, what they end up developing further down the line. Yes, Microsoft sent that to me. Thank you, Microsoft, for sending that over. I like it, but I do hear everybody on the quirks and everything. And hopefully they sort them out and really start listening to people about what they want when it comes to hardware and how they want it to function. So here's what Phil Spencer said about the device. You currently have the ROG Xbox Ally in your hands. Is there anything you would like us to pay attention to? This is my personal item, laughs. I play it the whole time on the plane. I was playing. It's great. The great thing about ROG Xbox Ally is that you can play anywhere. You can play at home or on your console, then log in with the ROG Xbox Ally on the go and resume where you last logged out. It's the best. And then when you get home and play on your console and TV, the achievements you made on the go are perfectly reflected. It makes you want to play games in your free time. Hollow Knight Silksong, I was playing Game Overload. It's great. The great thing is that you can play anywhere. You can play at home or on your console, then log in and then go pick up where you left off. It's awesome. And even when you get home and play on your console and TV, the achievements, I feel like that's just the same thing he said already. You love games. By the way, what is Phil Spencer's game of the year this year? Okay. Excluding our games, I love the game I'm playing now, Hollow Knight Silksong. It's really good. And then although it's a game for PlayStation 5 and PC, my friend Kojima's, and I think game of the year would be Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So I think he's referencing Death Stranding 2. And then he also mentions Elder Scrolls 4, Doom, etc. And then let's continue going on here. I'm going to parse this really quick. I didn't read this one before I went into the stream. I just kind of wanted to talk about what he said during all the interviews. And there was one with Phil Spencer. I didn't see a ton come out about this one. Here's one about Halo, though, right before the announcement was made. By the way, speaking of software, I'm sure veteran fans are curious about the future of popular IP such as the Halo series and the Forza Motorsport series, which basically we had that former developer saying that it was basically done. What do you think? Have you reached the end of the line for those IPs? No, Halo Studios, formerly 343 Industries, is planning for the future and is focused on new endeavors. We're focused on Unreal Engine 5 and new technologies. We want to take the time we need to get to the point where we can say in the Halo franchise and create the next great game in the Halo series. Regarding Halo, The Force Awakens, we sometimes need to shift our focus to games that are released sooner. We understand the reaction many people had when we scaled back Turn 10 Studios. We have a large number of games we want to support carefully, and sometimes we give development teams a little more time to avoid putting them under strain. Our current structure with multiple studios allows us this flexibility. Xbox Game Studios has over 20 studios, and we have many games in development, each with different support needs. We have both short-term and mid to long-term perspectives. We want the games we develop to be successful. Xbox Game Studios has a large number of titles in development, so please stay tuned for more. Halo Motorsport, finally give me a message to Japanese fans. I think this translation's getting a little wonky. I think it means Forza Motorsport. We are investing appropriately as a franchise and are preparing a system that will allow them to create something great as the next new installment in the Halo series, The Force Awakens. Okay, I don't know what he said here. I think he's talking about Turn 10, but for some reason the translation is translating it to Halo. We have a large number of games we want to support carefully. I feel like that's the same sort of statement there. So not a ton out here, and it's machine translated. So Phil Spencer, pretty PC safe. The one thing we did get from the Phil Spencer interview is that, yes, they are making a next generation Xbox console. So I don't know why that rumor keeps coming up. I kind of understand why people would believe that rumor when it keeps coming up because of the tumultuous state of the Xbox business that everybody has been highlighting lately. But I mean, they've clearly stated so many times at this point that it is coming and that they are making a next gen console. That I mean, unless you have some really credible evidence, it's happening. I think the conversation about the Xbox business makes more sense. Now, there were a few things Phil Spencer addressed in there that maybe we could talk about, but I want to go over to the New York Times to talk about Matt Booty for just a moment, because this Matt Booty interview is getting a lot of attention because people aren't happy with some of the things he said. This came out after the Halo news happened, right? Xbox's prized sci-fi franchise is heading to PlayStation. As part of a strategic shift away from exclusivity, Microsoft is bringing Halo to Sony's competing console for the first time. Well, let's scroll down to a few of the choice quotes. So one of the first things that he talked about was this. The sci-fi franchise that has helped the company sell 4 generations of Xbox consoles and generate billions of dollars is coming to the Sony PlayStation, Microsoft's direct competitor, for the first time. It is the equivalent of Disney letting Mickey Mouse roam Universal Studios. Matt Booty said, "We are all seeking to meet people where they are," Matt Booty, the president of Xbox Game Content and Studios, said in an interview about Microsoft's strategic shift. That's a statement that's true. They have said that multiple times. That is what the whole "this is an Xbox marketing campaign" is about. I think that "this is an Xbox" is not a great marketing campaign, if I'm being totally honest. I think it sort of is confusing a lot of people. It's getting made fun of a lot. I understand what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, you can play on your phone, you can play on your tablet, you can play on your PC, you can play on your Xbox. It's great. I just don't feel like it's having the desired effect that they wanted. And I would be curious to hear what commenters and chatters think about that. I don't think it's great marketing. Chat seems to like it. I get what they're going for, but when you're just saying everything's an Xbox, like I see memes from people in the industry with a PlayStation 5 next to the Xbox, they're like, this is an Xbox, and it is. You can just play everything on your PlayStation 5 now, and that's fine. Xbox really lost people though when they raised the price of Game Pass and people just started canceling it. It's really hard to find what the in is for Microsoft and Xbox gaming people are. So you've raised the console price. Why would anyone recommend an Xbox Series X? Would anybody in chat recommend an Xbox Series X or S at this point, given the price increases? I would say maybe if you can get it at a garage sale on sale, sure. But I just don't see a world where anybody is recommending the Series X and S. I would say get a PC. Because going forward, you're just going to be able to play everything on your PC. We have a super chat from Cool who says, I see the Halo Reaches engine used in Halo CE, and I would love for you to delve on that. The Halo, is it? I haven't seen that yet. I was going to cover off on Halo a little bit, but I wanted to get through all of this. Yes, because Game Pass, but you get Game Pass cheaper on PC. You can build a PC, like you can get a 2 terabyte Xbox for $800, or you can build a starter PC that is future proofed and can be upgraded through the next generation of consoles. Like, just get a decent graphics card, sell your graphics card. Thank you, Cool, for the $5, by the way. Sorry. Just upgrade your graphics card further down the line. So, Mr. Fox says, don't listen to Destin. He just said there's no reason to buy a series console. It's not the past. If you don't have exclusives, you won't sell, period. So you're agreeing with me? I don't really understand what Chad is discussing here. Yeah, there's no compelling reason to buy an Xbox console, in my opinion. If I'm going to buy a console, all the Xbox games are coming to PC. Well, I'm going to buy, they're coming to PC or they're coming to PlayStation 5. Okay, well, PlayStation still has 1 or 2 exclusives a year. Then I'm going to get the base PlayStation 5. Xbox really just set themselves up with a no-win scenario. Especially in the console market. So I do think that the next generation Xbox will be the most powerful thing that they're ever going to release, because it's going to be a PC. It's just going to be a PC. That's all it's going to be. It's going to be a PC, and that's it. You can buy a refurbished. No, people don't buy refurbished. Like, unless you're a super value shopper, you go to Walmart, you go to Target, wherever you can find one, right, in stock, and you pick it up. I think the problem is PlayStation got ahead of the tariff issue and they imported a bunch of PlayStation stock in the United States, and they can mitigate the cost because they were forward thinking. Xbox didn't do that. They are now looking at moving their shops out of China. So maybe at some point they can figure out how to mitigate that cost. But right now it's just not happening. And I'm a huge Wolverine fan. You can search my Twitter for how many times I mentioned Wolverine before anything Insomniac ever did. And if you go back even further, as I've said multiple times, like I ran a Wolverine fan page. I am so excited for that freaking game. And those are the kind of things that PlayStation still has going for it. Granted, the PlayStation games will also come to PC likely about a year after launch. I think we're currently at that window. And we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. And I know we're going to get back to the Mac Booty thing in a second. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens once Xbox really isn't in the same market that PlayStation is. And PlayStation might start saying, well, maybe we don't need the window to be that big, because there's not really an Xbox console. So, yeah. I suppose Michelangelo DW, because I got him for free when I did the 7-day thing. I'm definitely not hardcore, but yeah. Continuing on here, let's just talk about some of this analysis. Juice fan Drunin, I've heard this guy a few times, quoted in other pieces. A market analyst and professor at New York University said Microsoft's newest console, the Xbox Series X and S, has been a commercial disappointment since releasing in 2020. Analysts estimate that it has sold at least 32 million units compared to about 80 million units of the PlayStation 5. Yeah. I think we started talking about how badly the Xbox was doing on my spreadsheet, PlayStation was less than 2% away from global sales surpassing what they did in the PlayStation 4 in the same time period. I don't know if they break through. I think if they do break through, it will be a small percentage by the end of the life cycle of the PlayStation 5, given the rumors that we're going to get the next generation of PlayStation 5. But if PlayStation and Xbox honestly were smart, they should just ride out this generation as long as possible. Here's a hot take I have. You don't really need a new PlayStation console right now. You don't really need a new Xbox console right now. The tech in both of them are very, very good. They did not surpass the PS4 worldwide. They surpassed the PS4 in the United States. Wire up. So you are correct that they've surpassed in one geography, just the United States. But I'm talking about worldwide numbers. Still, Matt Piscatella pointed out like back in January that they were past the PlayStation 4. But just to address that point, they're specifying the United States, and I do think that they are very close to surpassing worldwide. I can bring up my console sheet, but last time I checked via official PlayStation numbers, it was like 1.6% away. So they were 1.6% below where the PlayStation 4 was. And that was the last official earnings call or whatever. They have another one coming up, I believe. Wire up, you might know. They have another one coming up, and that's one I've been paying very close attention to because it's an impressive feat. I don't think it'll be a drastic, they're not going to like destroy PlayStation 4's numbers, I don't think, but time will tell on that one. With Xbox kind of getting out of the hardware business, who knows? Maybe they do. But I mean, we're going to look at a segmentation study here in just a second that sort of talks about what's going on with users online and how the gaming demographic has definitely shifted since the days of just having your NES and Genesis or even your PlayStation 1 and Xbox and all of that good stuff. But basically says, when it comes to consoles, Xbox has always been the bridesmaid and never the bride, Van Druen said. They just haven't been able to outmaneuver PlayStation and Nintendo. I hope they both delay their next-gen consoles. Like, there's rumors that Xbox or PlayStation, I believe, is coming either next year or the year after. I personally just think it's too soon. Graphics aren't doing what they need to like really drive people to buy that new product. If they were able to at least focus on frame rate, both companies, and like, I'm not talking about one or the other. I think both companies should be focused on frame rate as opposed to visual fidelity at this point, because that's where they really struggle. A native 1080p console with a locked frame rate is where they should be. So here's the big Matt Booty quote, though. This is the one that's making the rounds about how he mentioned TikTok, and everybody was sort of surprised by this TikTok statement. I personally wasn't, because we've heard it before. This has been cited so many times in like at least two big studies that I know of. Microsoft leaders hope that bringing its premier franchises to new audiences will ultimately attract more customers into the Xbox ecosystem. Booty said consumers no longer have a strong attachment to the actual devices they use to play games. Our biggest competition isn't another console, he said, adding, we are competing more and more with everything from TikTok to movies. Everybody latched onto this TikTok statement. There are signs the strategy is working. The article comes to the conclusion that the strategy is working in the next sentence. Between April and July, 6 of the top 10 best-selling games on Sony's consoles were Microsoft's properties. Near the top was Forza Horizon 5, 4 years after it was initially released for Xbox consoles. Everybody latched onto the TikTok thing, but Matt Booty is citing readily available data from other people. Now, let's look at another company that said the exact same thing. I just searched TikTok. Merlin Entertainment CFO Fiona Eastwood says the theme park's biggest competition is screen time at home. That's absolutely true. Here is a segmentation study about what's going on in the games industry. This was posted back in January of 2025. and it's about the state of video games in 2025. And they talk about a few key things here. They talk about how nearly all of the games, I apologize for the scaling here. Here, maybe we'll just do it. Maybe we'll do it a little bit differently. Let's see if this is set up. All right. See if I can make this work. Boop. And then I can move my camera around. So nearly all of gaming's biggest wins, nearly all the top games of the last 15 years took advantage of multiple growth engines simultaneously if they didn't pioneer them in the first place. That includes Roblox, Free Fire, that was a mobile game, Candy Crush, Minecraft, Fortnite, COD Warzone, Apex Legends, Genshin Impact, PUBG, and Among Us, I think was the game. All of those games were massive successes. PlayStation is cited multiple times about the difficulty that they have had expanding their audience in terms of they've sort of hit a saturation point with the console and how many consoles they're going to sell, right? Everybody is looking for the next Helldivers 2 in Sony's instance. Destiny is in the gutter right now. So like, what's the next big thing going to be? That's what they're looking for. TikTok's growth hasn't come from other social video platforms. Total consumption amongst US adults is up 100 million hours a day since 2020-21, or 23 minutes a person a day. That includes TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and I admit, even I am on YouTube most of the time. I spend less time gaming and I spend more and more time on social media platforms, or not TikTok. My drug of choice is YouTube, but a lot of that is happening. And this is by Matthew Ball. This isn't some crazy thing. I just want to point out that the comment doesn't come from nowhere. And I'm sort of shocked that nobody else pointed this out, because it's mentioned multiple times in other studies. And this is about console growth. Again, Matthew Ball, I don't know who this person is. This is a very popular segmentation study. The whole industry is 231 pages. It's a really great study. All of Gen 8 growth in Japan was Nintendo. So nearly all Gen 7 and 9 growth in row and PlayStation plus Xbox are down in America, Europe, and Japan versus Gen 6. So they're selling slower. No one looked at Matthew Ball's PowerPoint. Matt Booty might have, because it's his job, right? And then I just brought this one up because I do think that this indicates why both PlayStation and Xbox are looking to get into handheld. Switch's extraordinary sales are, for the most part, not from net new players, but from the cannibalization of two console form factors, living room and handheld. So PlayStation managed to merge handheld and the living room. And I think that's what the PlayStation Portal was to address. It was to get their foot in the door there and then figure out what they do from there. There's a ton of stuff in here. There's talk about how the Chinese market is just coming out of nowhere and really, really having an impact. Here's just a random slide that I went to. Worldwide consumer real spending on video game content. And you can kind of see the graph down here for PC, handheld, and console. It's sort of normal, but look at mobile and arcade VR. So it's interestingly higher than you would expect. And then if you look at, if I could find the screen time graphs, because there is a mention of screen time, but this is like a 281 page document. Alana Pierce, I know, did a whole breakdown of this thing, talking about specifically where people are going and what has been changing. So anyway, for the point of today's conversation, I just wanted to bring up that Matt Booty's comment about TikTok being a competitor, it's not out of nowhere. I had a conversation that I brought up a few times on the stream on X with Larian's community person. I actually can't remember, I'm blanking on his name, Cromwell on X. And he said that you're going to shoot yourself in the foot if you try and do $80 games, which Xbox tried to do, and we all saw them get out of it. So Xbox tried to raise it to $80 game, and they had to bounce back because he and I had a conversation in 2024, 2023 saying, you're going to price people out. And I think that's that's certainly what's happening with Xbox and what they've done. And I think it's going to happen with others also. IGN also released a gaming trends platform, which the link wasn't working for some reason. I was going to sign up for it, but I don't know if my browser's being weird, but whatever. They talked about how mobile gaming is 10 million downloads, how big Roblox is compared to Fortnite. You're talking about 3.8 million in June for Roblox versus 1.2 to 1.77 for Fortnite. Most gamers, they're living in the worlds of Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, maybe like Tarkov would be another example. And they don't leave those ecosystems. They just stay there. That's a really crazy thing that has been happening in the gaming space over the last few years. People just live in those worlds. A few of the key choices, it's like somebody actually had the study. 93% of Gen Alpha prefer playing on mobile, according to IGN segmentation study, but preference for mobile is actually growing for millennials too, with 32% calling it their preferred device. Daily concurrent user numbers have grown in Roblox to 25 million in June of 2025. Over the same period, Fortnite grew. It's insane to think about because of how long Fortnite's been around. Millennials and Gen X tend to be loyal to platforms or genres. Now the younger generations tend to be loyal to specific experiences. They no longer identify as gamers. They identify as players of a specific game. So if you're a gamer, like they identify as Destiny players or World of Warcraft players, or in the modern age, Roblox players, Fortnite players. Every 2 years, IGN conducts a study into audience attitudes towards older games, and the findings have shown that people are increasingly looking back. And I think we've all seen that trend, right? Now, 71% agree that they're feeling more and more nostalgic for franchises that were around when they were kids. And I would argue that that is why I think both Xbox and PlayStation need to delay whatever their next-gen console ends up being. There's no rush to get it. You're already doing so well with your current consoles. Just reduce the freaking price of your devices, and you're going to be okay. Gen Z and Gen Alpha now expect every song and TV show to be available to them instantly, and they expect the same for video games. So the IGN segmentation study said it. The Matthew Ball study from back in January 2025 said it. And that's why Matt Booty said it. It's because this has been a long running thing that the game industry period has had to deal with. And that includes PlayStation, that includes Xbox, that includes any video game. That's why the focus in all of these earnings calls has been, we're shifting to monthly active users and we're shifting to other things. Now, I will give Matt Booty some criticism here. He had a very weak statement for the layoffs. The shifting economics of the video game industry have left some analysts wondering if Microsoft plans to leave the console market altogether. Over the summer, the company laid off almost 9,000 employees. Microsoft did. I don't believe Xbox laid off 9,000 employees, many from game studios attached to Xbox. An anticipated reboot of Perfect Dark was canceled, and so was that other one from Rare. Layoffs are difficult, but he said, they are part of managing our business. Yeah, okay, cool. I don't know what, to be fair, what's he going to say that makes it better? There's nothing he can say that makes it better. It's a miss for any company, and all companies have had layoffs. But anyway, I've seen a lot of people just picking up Xbox's biggest competition isn't another console, but TikTok and movies. He's right. To be fair, thinking on it, obviously they've lost the console war. They've been saying that for years. So, but he's right. In a different VGC article, they also cited that more than 60% of US game players only buy 2 games or fewer per year. Why? Guys, you can go install Path of Exile, Fortnite, Roblox, and several other games right now for free. Battlefield's going to go on sale later this month, and you can just live in Battlefield. There's not a big reason to be getting the latest and the greatest. I can't even keep up. Like, I'm independent. It's just me doing all this, right? I don't have somebody like proofing my scripts or anything like that. Sometimes Josh will edit VODs for me, but like, it's just me. I cannot keep up with the releases. Like, I still haven't finished Borderlands. I haven't finished Death Stranding 2. I think what I'm going to do for the rest of the year, I'm going to go back. I need to finish Claire Obscure, and I need to finish Death Stranding 2, because I think those are 2 top Game of the Year contenders. And then what else do we have? We still have Metroid this year. Oh, I haven't even touched Donkey Kong this year. Yeah, I'm currently playing Path of Exile 1. I did the Path of Exile 1 interview. And yeah, Jimmy says, it's the attention economy, baby. Exactly. There is so much competing for your attention. Like, even right now, for streamers, you can watch me talk about video games and get you caught up on what is going on in the video game world and give you my perspective. But there's tons of other creators out there you could be watching too. You could watch whatever the rebranded Xbox shows are going to be. I'm sorry, I shouldn't make that joke. I shouldn't have made that joke. But yeah, it is difficult once you have children in the, I'm sorry. I saw it making the rounds. It was easy. It was an easy joke to make. I shouldn't have made the joke. A lot of my friends are doing the same thing. But yeah. Yeah, thank God I never had a show called like Xbox Nation or something like that. It's always just me, and it's always just been my opinions. But anyway, let's take a look at the Sarah Bond interview. I'm sorry, everyone. This is a bad joke. I shouldn't have done that one.
I'm Timothy Beckworth. I'm the tech editor at Mashable. I'm here with Sarah Bond, the president of Xbox. That has to be the coolest job title I can imagine. I know you have kids. They must think that's the coolest thing ever, right?
It is the coolest job title. It is also the coolest job. Yeah, but my kids do think it's pretty awesome, but they're always asking for stuff, of course.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine they want to play this amazing device, which we'll talk about in a second, early. They want all the games early.
Everything early. And they are...
I just want to say, from a production standpoint and from PR standpoint, whoever greenlit this interview, I get it. Man, Sarah Bond comes off great, at least in spoken form. It's a really well shot interview. They did a great job on this one. And I think it's a really smart marketing beat for the marketing team to do, because it came at the time when all this drama was coming. But it's a little softball-y, but I don't know. I like how the interview went. However, she's been roasted, as she usually is, for this interview. I don't agree with a lot of the statements. Maybe we'll do gameplay pit. I don't agree with a lot of the roasting that she's gotten. I think it's a little much. But anyway, let's keep going.
actually really good at giving me ideas and testing things out. So
That's got to be an advantage.
Yeah.
So we're...
The only interview I gave Sarah Bond a really hard time on was when she got thrown out on the stage with, I think was it Dina Bass over at Bloomberg or something like that? Anyway, she gets put on the stage right after Microsoft laid off like 9,000 people. They shut like Tango Gameworks, and she had to give an interview. And I know, they PR train people and they try and prep people, and it just didn't go well. That was the only time I'm like, it wasn't really fair to her to throw her out there. Well, she's the president. That's her job. Her job is to be able to answer those questions. But anyway.
Obviously here to talk about an exciting new device. Tell us what this is. I know people have been waiting years for this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Xbox Ally. It is the first time ever that we have created an Xbox handheld. The teams worked with Asus and with Windows to create this device. So now you can finally actually take Xbox with you anywhere you want to go in your hands.
Yeah, I got to play with it a little bit before our interview. It feels like Xbox controllers in your hand. Obviously, it's a little bit heavier because there's more hardware there, but it does have that kind of familiar Xbox feeling.
It is her job,
it's
yeah.
a full-powered Windows gaming laptop in a way.
Yeah, well, and it's hard actually to talk about it and not pick it up, I'll be honest. Yeah, when you hold it and you close your eyes, it feels like an Xbox controller. But you're right, it is powered by Windows.
Yeah.
Which...
So I think the handheld is better than people give it credit for, but could it be improved? Yes, absolutely. I think the best thing that's happening for the ROG Xbox Ally X, everybody's talking about the dang thing. For better or for worse, you have tons of coverage about the ROG Xbox Ally X, and that's good for Xbox. The fact that people are looking at it and saying, I really like it, but I want these things to be improved, that is a huge win for them. You know, it's a handheld beta test. I don't think you're wrong, What If. I do think it would have been nicer to have a more intuitive experience. The biggest point of feedback is it's so close. It's so close, but it's just not quite where it needs to be. Not for launch. Not for launch. Your account has your purchases, paid data. Yeah, it's a beta. It does feel a little bit like a beta
pretty
test.
cool aspect of it, because once you go through Ubi, every other time you open the device, you boot right into an Xbox experience. But because it's Windows, any game that you have that you've bought from a PC store that's on this device, it all shows up in one library, which is so awesome for gamers.
Yeah, and that's kind of been part of Xbox's strategy, right? Like more cross-platform games, like less focus on exclusives. Can you kind of tell me how this fits into the Xbox like big picture strategy? Why?
Yeah, how does this fit into the big picture strategy? It's a really, really good question. I mean, before this came out, I was talking about building a PC, which I could definitely do for $1,000, that just boots in the Steam big picture mode. And you can do that. So, I mean, unless you really want a handheld on the go device, why would you not spend that $1,000 on a PC? That's my question. That's the one thing that's a little bit tricky. And I see people in chat saying, I got my pre-build. Yeah, you can get really good pre-builds for $1,000, for $1,000. Yeah, you can. So that's the thing. It's a very niche audience that you're targeting. Now, I wonder if they're sold out. I know there was the claim that they sold out in many locations, but I am sort of curious how well it's been doing since launch.
Why this? Why the handheld?
I like it.
We've always believed that people want to be able to play any game they want, anywhere they want, with anyone. And gaming is entertainment. You should be able to take it with you everywhere. You shouldn't be constrained to a single device. You shouldn't be locked to a single store. And this is the manifestation of it.
Yeah, so do you imagine most people will have an Xbox console and they'll also have the new Ally handheld? Is that kind of the big picture vision?
You know, I think that we'll see a whole range of people using it. For some folks, this will be the device they want to game on. They want to take their games with them anywhere. They're a PC enthusiast. They want to be able to access all of their stores in one place.
You know, I think that it's a really good handheld device. I think it's gotten a lot of flack. I honestly really like it. I never played the ROG Ally. The ROG Ally X, like the naming's weird, right? There's all these little things that I think aren't quite where they need to be, but I do think I see the potential with the handheld, and I do enjoy. I don't know what the XP thing is. Apparently there's some new XP thing YouTube turned on. Thanks for getting your XP up. Go get it, Shatters. I have no idea what that means, but knock yourself out. I do think it's a really good handheld device, though. I really like it, but I'm sort of like a tinkerer. I modded my Steam Deck so that it could boot into Windows. I did the tutorial over on IGN for how to do that, and I really enjoyed making content like that and having that device. All that stuff had to go back, though, so the fact that I have a handheld is fun. Anyway, let's keep going.
Because you can also plug it into the TV and project to the TV as well. And then there's going to be other people we know that are console users where this is.
Yeah, so like you can use it as just a handheld, but you can plug it into a TV. I have B-roll in my video where I reviewed it, where I'm playing Returnal on my display at 60 frames. It's great.
A great add-on to your console experience. One of the cool things we did for console users in here is in the UI. If you have a game that you started on the console and then you stopped in that game and you grabbed your Ally and you're somewhere out in the world walking around, it actually knows
if
right
it's,
where you left off.
If it's
right
Xbox Play Anywhere.
And if it's installed on the device, you're playing it natively. But if for some reason it's not on a device, you can actually play it over the cloud. It knows right where you were.
That is really cool.
Here's the problem with the device. The big problems. No OLED. I think that was a heat choice. Some people pointed out. I think the display looks really good, but the fact that it doesn't have an OLED for $1,000, kind of weird, right? Or pricing thing. I don't know why they did. We found out later that ROG Asus actually set the price of the unit, which would explain why nobody knew what the price of the frickin' thing was until like the day it came out. And then what was the other data point? So no OLED. You can hook it up to the TV. The big problem is that the Steam Deck, it's just as good. And this is just a 1080p version of the Steam Deck. So you're paying almost twice the price for 1080p gaming at about the same frame rates as you get on the Steam Deck. But it has the Windows update. It has the Xbox app update. It has the ROG update. It has a BIOS. It's like, no, you can't do that. If you have an update, you need to go to just update all the BS. Do it in the background. No. You can't be doing. I can't be going to 5 different storefronts to update whatever every time I turn on the stupid handheld, right? You can't do that. It has to be iPhone simple. A lot of people cite Steve Jobs. I will agree with that criticism. There's too much Windows BS. I think Mr. Maddie said, you can't be having me update my freaking calculator on a handheld that's supposed to be a handheld, right? Like, I don't want to see any of that bullshit. Pardon my language.
Cool. Yeah. One of the coolest features I've seen so far is the kind of co-pilot integration.
Yeah.
So one of the cool things is you can actually press
never
the
use
button
this
and ask the AI questions. Where does AI fit into gaming? Is that the vision that everyone has their own like built-in AI assistant as they're playing games from now on?
Well, we just believe that anyone should be able to jump in and play a game.
MD
And we should
Pivot,
make it
thank you for
easy
the
and accessible. And
Twitch
it should
Prime.
be in flow state with you. So yeah, the way it works.
Yeah, if you are watching on Twitch, by the way, you can support using your Amazon Prime membership. So thank you to MD Pivot for doing so.
Works is you like long press this button. You could be in the middle of a game. You can ask it, hey, can you tell me how I actually use the ABXY? Or what do I do now? Or which way do I turn and what happens? And it will help you out. And so it
Real
really
quick.
opens up.
Here's the problem. Let me know when you see what the problem is. I'm just going to turn this on. So far, so good, right? Let me know when you see the problem with this handheld device. Let me know when you see it. Just give it a second. Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's on the screen right now. This is a handheld device. What's the problem with my screen right now? It's Windows. Why don't you just turn on? Why do I need to sign on from a Windows screen? It just boot into the Xbox app. I got to touch it, and then there, bam, I'm playing Ninja Gaiden again, right? Get that Windows splash screen off of my handheld. So it's fine once you're in it. I'm going to do a restart. All right. Just in case you think I'm trolling. So I'll restart, and restarting has it boot directly into the Xbox experience. Let's just see what happens. So now just disable it. So I don't have a retail unit. This is a review unit, right? And the way you had to set it up, you had to go through the Windows process. You are right. Most consumers won't know how to do that. NYYVV. I hear you and I agree. And you're right. I'm going to do that. Most people aren't going to do that. All right. I'm rebooting into the gaming experience now. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Let me know when you see the problem. Just give it a sec. Just give it a second. You're going to see the problem here any second. And this is from a guy who likes the device. Oh, there it is. What? Why are you putting it to Windows? You're supposed to be a gaming handheld. Boot into the gaming thing. If it's Windows, sure. Yeah, it's a gaming PC. It sure is, but it's marketed as a gaming device. it shouldn't boot into Windows. Anyway, that's my hot take.
More games for more people. Like there's some games that are super intimidating. Like so many people were intimidated by Elden Ring, right?
All right. That's a great one.
So people will be more likely to try more games, and people stay in games longer. So the team worked really hard to integrate it into the full experience for you versus having to go out, go ask something else. Here it is in flow state. It understands your context. It understands what you want to do, and it can help you.
Real quick, I just got 2 more Twitch Prime subs. John and Vicious Bacon. Thank you for the Twitch Prime subs. I appreciate it.
I'm lost. Where do I go from here?
You're right at the Horizon Festival site in Mexico, so pretty much a prime starting spot. Just follow the road out of the festival area and you can explore anywhere you want to go from there.
Yeah, I assumed it would be...
Yeah, I got a confession for y'all. I would probably use this. I would probably use a feature like this if I got stuck. The problem is, and a lot of people don't like AI, the end user who doesn't care, and most people don't care, they just want to solve their... I need to make lunch. I don't know what to make. Just tell me what to make the kids, right? Stuff like that. So if you have a problem like this, you're going to use it. Some people are saying the AI feature is awesome. Would I buy one? I am cheap frag monkey, so no, I wouldn't have bought one new. I would have bought it used. Honestly, you know what? I bought a Steam Deck at launch. I purchased it for Destin, and I sold it. I wasn't playing it. I didn't touch it, and I ended up selling it. And I was in a very spoiled position where I had all the tech I would ever want because I worked at IGN, right? So, no, I don't know that I would have bought one. If I did, I probably would have bought it when it was on sale, but the Steam Deck had an amazing... I was so tempted to get that LCD. It was like, what, $300 or $310? So, that's my entry fee. I might have got the cheaper one, the white one.
Watching your screen, and that's how it would know. But it seems like it's also reading other data, like it knows what game you're in, or it knows kind of like what you have in the background, what tools are
People say
available.
this feature is good.
It's actually
I didn't know.
pulling in info from a few different places, not just what's on the screen, right?
Yeah, we wanted to build your own gaming sidekick. Like you should never have to game alone ever again, even if you're just holding this device.
I hope I don't get
So it
flagged
does
for the
do that.
music
When you
Mashables
push
play.
the button.
Vicious Bacon says, hey, Destin, I don't know if you saw my previous question on YouTube. I did not. 1, with handhelds becoming basically mini PCs, do you think consoles will become marketed as pre-built PCs as an alternative? Yeah, that's what Xbox is going to do. Absolutely. So Bacon, I've been saying that for 2, maybe 3 years, that the next Xbox is going to be, it's going to basically be the ROG, but on a TV, but it's going to look great. Do you think the next generation of consoles will be marketed on AI integration as the next evolution in gaming? Yeah, a PSSR is already kind of doing that. So yes and yes. I think you're bang on with your statement. Vicious knows what's up.
It knows where you are in the game. It also knows what game you're playing. It also knows
Yeah,
your game
Phil Roney, you can
profile
boot.
and a whole bunch of
Phil Roney, you can boot the Xbox guy is just not posting anything.
things about all of your gamer identity with Xbox, and it uses all of those to give you recommendations, to give you tips, to recommend other games for you. That's operating in context of what you want and what you
Please.
must.
Yeah, and I mean, to put it in Xbox terms, it kind of feels like your own personal, like, Cortana. You know?
I've had a couple people say that.
But it seems like it's that kind of idea, right? Like, it's a voice in your head that talks to you, that helps you solve problems. And
It's your friend. Yeah, helps you through your game.
Very cool. So you talked about making gaming accessible. That's definitely something I've heard you say in other interviews as well. I know this starts at $1,000. I know we've recently seen some price increases with Xbox Game Pass.
Think about the absurdity of that claim. Yeah, I know you've said that you want gaming to be more accessible. So this is $1,000, right? Like, we just want gamers to be able to play wherever they want. And if you want to play on Xbox, it's going to cost you $1,000. Like, I think there's a little bit of mixed marketing going on there, if you know what I mean. Doom Guy, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Everybody using their Twitch Primes, thank you, everybody. I do appreciate it. I make about $20 a month on Twitch, so, got a huge audience over there.
some increases on
Means a lot.
devices and consoles, and I mean that's got to cut into accessibility a little bit. How do you think about that as president of Xbox, like in terms of making games accessible?
Yeah, there is a lot going on, but at Xbox, what we're focused on is how do we
Yeah, there's a lot going on. $1,000.
create options for everybody. So with this device, we have two
Okay.
devices. We have the
Fair.
Ally X. It's for a premium experience for the most demanding player. It has all the latest innovation in it. We also have the Xbox Ally if you're a more casual enthusiast who wants to jump in, or you're looking for something cool to buy your kid to put under the tree, this Christmas.
Yeah.
Here's the problem with the Xbox Ally. That new chip in the Xbox Ally, it's the same one in the Steam Deck. And you can get the Steam Deck, the OLED Steam Deck, with, I believe it has a bigger SSD in it, or comparable. Everything's the same with the Steam Deck. You can get it for $50 cheaper with an OLED screen. The Xbox ROG Ally, it's good in theory. It's too expensive. So if you want a lesser experience, why are you paying $50 more for that? They needed to price it competitively with the Steam Deck, especially. Maximus says OLED, 1 terabyte SSD, carry case, cloth, better OS. Yeah, so that's the problem with the lower end unit. It is the Steam Deck with the Windows bloat. More comfortable grips, that's fair. There are pluses. There's more comfortable grips, but not having an OLED, it's a miss. It's a miss.
So it's all about having choice and option for players in a time when there's a lot going on and there's a lot of different things that people want.
Interesting. Yeah, the rumors are that the next gen console will be
Here it
almost
is.
more like a gaming PC in a lot of ways. That it'll be super high powered. I don't know if you can speak to that at all, but I mean that would be helpful for me because there's a lot of like PC games I'd love to play, but like I said, getting the barrier of entry seems like it's really high. So if there was a console that could kind of be a gaming PC and console in one, like that would be helpful for me. I don't know what you can tell us about the next gen console. Any?
Well, I can tell you're right that the next gen console is going to be a very premium, very high end curated experience. You're starting to see some of the thinking that we have in this handheld, but I don't want to give it all away.
We're talking a lot about
Yeah, you're starting to see. We're beta testing it. We know. Very clearly, we know that we are currently beta testing. My big piece of feedback, hide Windows. Hide it. Don't shove it down my throat the first time I turn on. First time I turn that sucker on, you know what should happen? You should boot up into Ninja Gaiden. You boot up into Halo Campaign Evolved. That's the first thing that should happen when you turn on your freaking ROG Xbox Ally. I shouldn't have to like do all this nonsense where I have to create my account and everything. Put me into a game. Show me the UI. Let me pick the games I want to download. Do all that nonsense in the background. Like you gotta fix that experience, especially.
about the hardware, the devices, but when we think about those pivotal gaming moments, like I mentioned Halo, or I remember playing Myst, with my dad.
Yeah. Oh my God, Myst was good.
It was.
Now you're really hitting the nostalgia.
I'm really
You're really
extra
going
dating
for it.
myself.
Yeah.
But we haven't really talked a lot about like
I met Sarah once in real life. She's really nice. I'm in real life, I'm more reserved and quiet. Like obviously I'm presenting on my show where I talk to y'all, but like in real life I'm kind of quiet. I like to be outgoing and nice to people when I talk to them. Sarah, she was really nice, but she's like one of those personalities that's like up here and I'm more here. Like so she's definitely like a leader of a major company and stuff like that. So anyway, nice lady.
games, and I know like exclusives have been less of a focus. It seems like with Xbox we're getting more like cross-platform games. We're to like big
Anyway, I was saying that because I think she really matches his chill vibe in this interview.
blockbuster exclusives fit into this, if at all, or is it kind of evolving past that place?
We're really seeing people evolve way past that. Like the biggest games in the world are available everywhere.
Yeah.
You look at Call of Duty, you look at Minecraft, you look at Fortnite, you look
Yeah.
at Roblox. Like that's actually what's really driving community in gaming. That's where people gather, they have experiences. And the idea of locking it to one store or one device is antiquated for most people.
Here's the thing. She's getting roasted for that comment. She is 1,000,000,000% absolutely right. It's accurate. And we just went over 2 different segmentation studies that say most gamers of the younger demographic, they play in worlds. They don't play on consoles. The younger people getting into gaming, they don't want to buy a box to play games. So if they already have a tablet or a PC or a phone, they want to have access on that device. And then maybe further down the line, they will eventually get that console, be it a PlayStation 5 or whatever the next Xbox is and everything like that. But she's right, and she's getting roasted for this statement. This is one of the best interviews Sarah Bond has done, and they've really latched on to the fact that she called it premium hardware and how it's going to be expensive. Yeah, I'm just going to tell you right now, everything's going to be expensive. That rumor that the next PlayStation is going to be $400, no, come on. It's not going to happen. And her talking about antiquated experiences, yeah, like, okay, let's say Xbox gets out of the console generation tomorrow. There's only 2 places that you can go to play exclusives. It's going to be PlayStation, who had 2 this year, and I think there's 1 on the docket for next year, and it's going to be Nintendo, and that's it. So Xbox is just going for a different approach, and it is a little antiquated. This idea that I can only play Nintendo games on my Super Nintendo, it's just not how it works anymore. And I've seen arguments on the other side where it's like exclusives are good, but like, I mean, I don't even think PlayStation thinks that anymore, because the cost to make the games has ballooned so much that they need users on all platforms to end up playing.
That's where people gather, they have experiences. And the idea of locking it to one store or one device is antiquated for most people. You want to be able to play
Said
with
it
your
twice.
friends anywhere, regardless of what they're on. And we're really leaning into that.
You want to be able to play with your friends anywhere, regardless of what platform they're on. She's getting rolled over the coals for this. Now, look, I've roasted Sarah Bond before for the statement after the layoffs, but she's completely right in this interview. She's just saying that people, modern gamers, like the younger demo, they just want to be able to play with their friends. They don't want to like, oh, my friend's playing on PlayStation, I have to go buy a PlayStation. No. And that's why Marathon isn't console exclusive. That's why Marathon is multi-platform. That's why Destiny didn't become console exclusive. And inversely, that's why Call of Duty remained multi-platform. That's why we see fewer exclusives, right? Thank you, Dave Calzone, for becoming a member. I do appreciate becoming a supporter. It's supporter tier. So I agree with you on that one. Joss Ploon, please. No, I'd love to hear why you disagree. Let me know. The Samurai Wesley. Thank you for the follow, Destin. Thanks so much. Did I follow you? Thanks, man. I appreciate you watching. Sam Wesley, I'm not good at pulling people up on YouTube, but I would love to hear your thoughts on it, and then we could revisit it later. I'll do my best to remember that you said just do the @Destin tag, but I want to know why you disagree. I think she's right. I think she makes a good point with that statement, and I think she's getting strangely ridiculed for it.
Because it just opens up another way for you to play. As does cloud, as does PC, as does the consoles that we all own and have in our living room.
Thank you so much for joining Mashable in the studio. This has been the highlight of my week. I was so excited we got to do this. This is a really cool product.
Well,
all right, shout out to this small company, Mashable. I don't know if you've heard of them, but I'll link to them in the description below. You know, yeah, if you haven't heard of them, I'll post it on YouTube. I don't have Twitch open. Apparently I can't use this aggregate tool to to post anything. Let's see if I could go into my... Anyway, yeah, Mashable. Great interview from Mashable. I don't know if you ever heard of these peeps before, but good stuff overall. And yeah, I think her comments are completely fine. I do think this is a drastic shift from everything that they have said leading up to this, and I definitely understand that it's different for a lot of people. But when they said they're not going to do exclusives, like way back when when was it? the Activision merger happened. They said they're not going to make Call of Duty exclusive. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, that's not what I thought they were going to do. And then early 2024, I think there was an expectation, oh, we're only going to do 4 games. I thought maybe we could watch and react to that, but I've been streaming a little bit longer than I meant to. But we got a lot to get through today. So some of the responses to this, the next Xbox will be high-end and curated, to use Xbox president Sarah Bond, aka expensive. And so they're pulling the quote from that interview. That interview has been sliced and diced so many times. If the next Xbox is more expensive than PS5 and more open and PC-like, there's absolutely no universe where a paywall for multiplayer makes sense for that system. It'll be there, Jez. I would be very surprised if they get rid of their multiplayer paywall. Dropping pay-to-play multiplayer for consoles is a trend I'd like to see Microsoft start, come full circle after they started it with the original Xbox. I mean, it would be great. I don't think it's going to happen. So a lot of people have been wondering where all this is coming from, and we're going to go into another article from Jason Schreier and Dina Bass, two people who have been, their beat has definitely been gaming and Microsoft. We're going to get to Halo here in just a sec, but I want to keep it on leadership. So Matt Booty, I have criticized him many times in the past. His statement about TikTok and screen time taking away attention from gaming, it's absolutely true. It's affecting all the companies, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, and they all have to figure out how to adjust in their own way. So it's not this absolutely crazy statement like everybody was making it out to be. Sarah Bond saying the idea of needing to buy a plastic box and not being able to play with your friends and describing it as antiquated. I get why she made that statement. I really don't think it's that big of a deal, personally. Let's focus on our business, on the demographics that isn't even old enough to join the workforce. They're talking about like teenagers, sanguine. They're not talking about like babe. They're not talking about like my 2 and 4-year-old. Anyway, they're talking about people who play games. And you know what the kids play? Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite, some other game I'm probably not mentioning. And all they do is they just live in those worlds. Anyway, Xbox has definitely had a rough year and change. Couple rough years, right, with all the layoffs and everything. We have a little bit more insight into where that is coming from. This is from Bloomberg. Microsoft pushes Xbox division to hit higher profit margins. Management's goal of 30% profit margin for gaming has led to job losses and canceled projects. So this is from Jason Schreier, who reports the following. Takeaways by Bloomberg AI. Thanks, Bloomberg AI, for the roundup. Microsoft's Corp is asking its Xbox gaming division to produce profit margins of 30% accountability margins, a term the company uses in lieu of profit margins. The gaming division has responded to the new goal by canceling products, raising prices, and slashing thousands of jobs, according to people familiar with the business. The new target was implemented by Microsoft Chief Financial Officer Amy Hood and has impacted strategies under Microsoft Gaming Chief Phil Spencer with games that are cheap to make or likely to generate significant revenue, taking priority over riskier bets. So, if you've been wondering where a lot of this is coming from, that's the long and the short of it. And here's the thing. We've been talking about it for a long time. This is an article Ryan did back in May. We all sort of saw, I keep using the wrong one. We all sort of saw this coming around May of 2024. Like early 2024, there was a tonal shift. New column from me on IGN. It's called Phil Spencer and the Battle for Xbox's Soul. I talked to 2 longtime Xbox employees and included their thoughts in this, as well as my own, in trying to parse through this crazy week. I hope you'll give it a look. The big interview, the big quote out of that interview was, it's no longer Xbox, but Microsoft Gaming. That was the big interview quote that Ryan got, and that was in May of 2024. By August of 2024, they announced that Indiana Jones would no longer be exclusive, and the mounting evidence of the drastic shift in strategy from the company, Phil Phil Spencer's statements, the fact that it's only 4 games, that we're testing the waters, and then very clearly it was approved or found that they are making a lot of money by porting games to PlayStation and happen. Do you have any Sony friends that bust your chops for being an Xbox fan? It's annoying. Balding Baby 1392. No, I actually don't. None of my Xbox fans or PlayStation fans bust my chops for being an Xbox fan. I think because, like, you know, here's the thing. You can like Xbox games and like get in the industry, but if you notice, I have this right here. If you can sort of see it, I know it's hard to make out on the video, but maybe it's not lit well enough. This is called a PlayStation, and this one here, this is called the Xbox. So, no, I just play whatever games. I care about the games, right? Like I'm playing, I still need to play Ghost of Yotei. Very excited about that one. I need to finish Death Stranding 2. But yeah, I just sort of play everything, man. So no, my friends don't really give me a hard time about it because they know I like PlayStation games and I like Xbox also. I think the main thing is, for a long time, I liked Game Pass. And I like the fact that Xbox lets me play my games on PC. I play most of my games on PC, PlayStation and Xbox. And it's been that way for a long time. I can barely keep up anyway. So by the time I get Ghost of Yotei, it'll probably be coming out on the PC in like a year, right? So I'll just play it on PC. I'm like the younger generation. Jez Corden tweeted out, forgot I tweeted this, lol. Microsoft CFO Amy Hood has given Xbox an utterly unrealistic financial requirement that is going to continue hurting the division. This isn't over. 30% is really high in a risky industry, said Ginger Prime. It's been public knowledge directly from Amy Hood herself, under oath, no less, summer 2023. Xbox has historically had lower operating margin than Microsoft's other lines of business. That is still true today. Microsoft's operating margin is approximately 40%. Over time, we are striving to increase Xbox's margin to bring it closer to those of Microsoft's other lines of business. So now it's 30%. But I mean, it was 40% in 2023. So Nerd Propellant actually makes a good point. So if they were already, Microsoft's operating margin is at 40. So if they're going to push Xbox to the 40% and they're currently at 30, it's probably going to be pretty brutal, right? I don't see Amy as the enemy. I mean, like, if their business's operating margin is 40, I don't know why, it being in a leadership position, why would you think that they wouldn't also expect you to be at 40? That's my take on it. Eat socks. Eat box socks. Thank you for the 143 super chat. I appreciate it. If everybody else at your company is expected to operate at a 40% operating margin, and Xbox just now got bumped up to a 30% operating margin, is that like a super shocking thing? Not in my book. I don't think so. So for me, the fact that this is a surprise, I put that on leadership personally. That's my hot take on it. Xbox's last profit margin was like 12%. Ibarra's had some strangely fanboyish tweets lately. Kind of surprised me. But I agree that I don't think it's necessary to point fingers at Amy Hood or Satya Nadella. Phil knows what he signed up for. He knew what he signed up for. It falls at leadership's feet. It's Phil, Sarah, and Matt. That's where the blame lies. You're part of an org. You don't get to like point the finger at the fact that you're part of Microsoft. It is high. It is high. But I don't think like, oh, Amy Hood bad. Because what? She wants them to have the same operating margin as the rest of the company? I don't really understand why she would be painted as the villain, personally. Anyway, Laura Fryer, also former Xbox. When I ran the Xbox Advanced Technology Group, our mission was simple: invest in devs to make their games great on our platform. We supported them. Second. My wife's going to go to Costco, I think. Oh, I didn't log in. So why is Xbox squeezing indie teams with these price hikes? Now, she was referencing this dev kit thing, and a lot of people were jumping on this one. I think, guys, everybody was off the mark with the whole dev kit thing. It's not quite the deal that everybody was making out to be. Now, I just want to say that an actual developer commented and said, Microsoft are still the only ones that also let you borrow dev kits. I was only given a 12-month contract for mine, but I ran into issues and they just let me keep it. They do sell extra kits on their site, but they're extremely friendly to poor single devs, which is what I am. She said, that's awesome to hear. Thank you for sharing. And I also asked, so dumb questions, can't you just set your retail console to dev mode and push to it now if you sign up on Microsoft to do so? And if that's option A, it does say that they provide them for free to indie devs with approved concepts on ID at Xbox. So if you're an indie dev, make your game on the retail unit, and then once it gets approved at ID at Xbox, you're able to just get a dev kit for free. So if you really need that Xbox dev kit, and like, I'm not a developer, I don't know what the advantages are, but yeah, there's a very easy step-by-step process you can go through. And the same developer said, this is different than what you get from dev kits. It's a lot safer and they restrict what you can and can't do. It's really just for hobbyists or people who might be interested in Xbox development. You're mostly restricted on how much power you get. So a lot of nuance just coming out of this. And other people pointed out that in older gens, dev kits used to have ridiculous prices since they were industrial equipment, similar to how the commercial versions of 4090 cost. Yeah, PS2 was 20 grand. PS3 was 20 grand. I had a PS2 dev kit, and basically you get the PS2 and it's Linux, right? Uh-oh, why is Capcom trending? Anyway, 360 was 10,012. PSP is that. Series X and S. And on Sony, a lot of people were like, oh, well, the Sony dev kit is super expensive, right? That's also not true. You can get a free Sony dev kit. We constantly strive to lower the barriers of entry and improve the process for publishing on PlayStation. As such, we are happy to continue to offer free PS5 development hardware to newly registered partners, game publishers, and developers, subject to our standard terms and conditions. So I think everybody was wrong about this whole dev kit thing. First of all, PlayStation offers free dev kits to indie devs. Second of all, if you're approved ID at Xbox, you can still get a dev kit for free. Microsoft also loans out dev kits, and you can take your retail unit and get the basics of developing for a game via the dev kit tools, where I posted a tutorial where somebody made a little game on their Xbox console. So I personally don't agree about the statements made around dev kits. And it seems like a lot of people came forward to say, hey, like, this is not accurate. But because it's Xbox, oh my God, because it's Xbox, a lot of people were upset about how that was stated. All right. You want to talk about Halo? Well, we could talk about some of the spicy. It seems like somebody found out that I'm live or something. We're getting some spicy comments in chat. People are getting rowdy. What'd they say here? You really don't need one until closer to launch, says Robert. So yeah, so by then you've either borrowed one, or you've gone through the process and got one through ID at Xbox. There's plenty of ways to get a dev kit. I think that story was way blown out of proportion, both on the PlayStation side and on the Xbox side. I just think it's sort of, yes, they raised the cost of dev kits. So did Sony, but there's ways you can get them for free. And anybody who's actually making games obviously is aware of those. Super chat from Curly says, the next Xbox is essentially confirmed by Sarah Bond as a hybrid console PC. Sure was. And it will be more expensive than a PS6, but cheaper than a PC. I think they're going to come in with the console at about $1,200, which is just insane. Insane to say, in my opinion. But I think that's where they're going to come in with it. I hope I'm wrong. But at this point, I'm like, if your handheld's $1,000, if your handheld's $1,000, like, what are they gonna put it in at? What do you think, chat? Throw me some numbers. I think they're gonna do like 12. They're gonna do $11.99, and maybe they have an $8.99. $8.99 is like as far as you can push it for a console, right? So they need like the $8.99 version and an $11.99. $1,200 for a 5070 Ti and 58 performance is a deal. Yeah, but like that's not how gamers are gonna look at it, man. You know that. Some people are saying 1.5, $1,200 to $1,500, $10.99, $1,200. Yeah, Wolf, I'd just buckle up for next gen. I think the PS6 is going to be $1,000. The standard was set with the Pro. The Pro launched for $750. Nobody really batted an eye. They went for it, right? So next gen, we're going into the thousands with all the price components and everything. So the lowest I've seen is $899. I think $899 personally is where things need to be priced. That's where that handheld should have been priced. That's where the top end next gen consoles should be priced. And they should have a second tier that is lower. PS6 will be $749. I think they push it to $799, Furious. I think best case scenario for PS6 is $799. Take it to the bank, everybody. Hold me on it. I'll go buy myself In-N-Out if I'm wrong. Ryan and I used to make In-N-Out bets, but I think that the next console will be, yeah. Remember, every $1 you spend on a thing is more tax. So they price being higher means you'll have more than MSRP. I'm not sure what you mean, but it's going to be over $1,000. Yeah, man. Due to market conditions, yeah, it's just such a cop-out answer. It's too expensive. The PlayStation price hike is too expensive. The Xbox price hikes are definitely too expensive. I don't even know what to say. So, you probably heard that this little game Halo campaign evolved. I have not played this. I've only watched like 2 or 3 previews, like where people said they played it. There's this guy, the Act Man, who has done a few previews. Let me see if I can find it. But in every preview, they say something. They're all sort of like this, right? So here, I'll just bring it up really quick. This is the Act Man. He's like a YouTuber.
All right, fellas. Just played the Halo CE remake demo, and my thoughts are fresh right now, okay? It is most definitely a work in progress. 100% a work in progress. If that was the finished game, I would not be happy. There are some very, like Halo CE is a legendary game. It must be treated as a legendary game. And although parts of it look really great, it's clearly still a work in progress. And I'll be honest, it feels far too similar to Halo 5, and like there was like Halo 5 grunts in there. They had the bullshit like Halo 4 instant melee kill. Not a big fan. Not a big fan. Again, the subtleties for Halo CE are exactly that, subtleties. The things that make it so great are very subtle, and there's time to take feedback right now and make some pretty big changes.
Brownie Mix. Whoa. Let's not start criticizing people for taking sponsorships, okay? Please. Thank you.
I would say it's a work in progress.
They pay the rent, okay?
That's how I feel about it right now. All right?
So he said it's a work in progress. He goes on, but like that sentiment, I've seen that echoed by other people. Here's Gaming Addict from Iron Lords Gaming. This is a big moment. Shout out to Xbox and Halo for providing me with the early build. Yeah, thanks for thinking of me, Xbox. Anyway.
Halo campaign evolved. You guys just seen it? Well, I played it. And I got a lot to say. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Addict here. Coming at you with another video. Today we're going to be talking about Halo campaign evolved.
Give it a sec.
Essentially a remake of Halo 1's campaign. And I played a mission of it. I played one mission. It's called the Silent Cartographer. You guys know the mission. The mission where we storm the beach. We're looking for stuff. And got a lot to say about this. First off, shout out to Microsoft. Shout out to Xbox for allowing me with the opportunity to get my hands on this game and give you guys my general impressions on it. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this. First off, I want to really highlight all of the things that I played
Yeah.
is
Just wait.
early builds. It kind of
Early builds, translation, technical issues, stutters, frame rate problems. Like, I get when I started hearing these impressions and the caveats of it being early, of it being, you know, not finished, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because I absolutely would have called that shit out. Guys, like, if your game is like chugging and like I could have flown out to Seattle and just went and played it, right? So if anybody who went to HCS, you can just go play the game. Apparently it was just on the floor. I didn't realize that was a thing. So it's not even alpha version probably. So yeah. Just checking chat here for a second. Yeah, so I was a little shocked to see that. Full disclosure, I haven't actually watched the trailers. I've just been watching clips on YouTube. I figured, y'all, let's watch the Halo stuff again. I haven't seen it yet. Not $99.99 for just the campaign. Halo 2 becomes a DLC. I don't think so, Eric. Good to see you, Eric. I haven't actually watched the trailer yet. It looks gorgeous.
According to the data in their networks, the ring has some kind of deep religious significance. They call it Halo. They
This aliasing is driving me nuts. You all see it, right?
believe that Halo is some kind of weapon.
What sort of weapon is it?
One with unimaginable power.
Voice acting's great. Visuals are phenomenal. The hallway with the elite. Trailer rendered in 60.
Fire Team Charlie, we're on our way.
I like the new cutscenes. Oh, the sounds are a little weird there.
Charlie, we're on our way.
The sound effect's a little weird. I like how the ship flew in. That was cool. Yeah, it looks good.
The Covenant are putting up a real fight. The cartographer must be here.
Oh yeah, another thing I saw from a notable, I can't remember his name. It was like one of the lore guys for Halo. He said he went and played it and he threw a grenade on the elites and that it took like 2 grenades to kill them. If that's true, like I just think there's some concerning things that I'm hearing here. First of all, Sprint makes the elites, or not the elites, I'm sorry, the God, what are these big guys called with the worms inside of them? The worm exoskeleton guys. I'm blanking on their like actual name. Help me out, chat. Elites are the Covenant. These are the hunters. Thank you, the hunters. I know they're made out of worms because in the book they describe them as like being all full of worms. Great, I got to get clipped because I forgot what hunters are called for a second. I don't know all the names, everything in the Halo universe. I just like the game. But anyway, apparently they only take like 2 plasma grenades to take down. And yeah. Wait, was Paris allowed to capture gameplay? Maybe I should go watch Paris's video after. It looks good, guys. Now, the thing that has me most excited... Okay, that was a great trailer. That definitely gets me hyped. The thing that has me most excited out of all of it is the fact that you're going to be able to play 3 prequel missions. Jack Frags also recorded gameplay. Come on. All right. Whatever. Would have been cool to play. I guess I can wait. I'll just wait for the full launch. Play it on my PS5. This is the longer form 13-minute thing where so it's the full gameplay demo that Microsoft releases, the official asset. Audio's a little quiet for some reason. Sorry. Oh yeah. Got the music right, that's for sure.
The Covenant believe that what they call the Silent Cartographer is somewhere under this island. The Cartographer is a map room that will lead us to Halo's control center.
I wonder how they're gonna redo the intro. Yeah, what's with that alias? There's poppin'. Yeah, lots of poppin'. I wonder if that's what people are talking about. And it looks like when they flew over the water, they're using SSR as opposed to... Like they're not using ray tracing, I don't think. Yeah, but it's good, man. They got the look right. I like that they show her face and stuff. I wonder why they would do dip to black. Just cut back to them. Pistol sound effects need more punch. I'll say that right now. You still got the burst fire thing going on. I like that. This feels really good, guys. He's not running. Notice the player is not running in the official Microsoft footage. I think that's intentional. I like the grenade sound effect. I'm just going to be talking a lot through this. This is the first time I've seen it. The pistol needs a little bit more oomphy. Oomph. Yeah, there's something off about it, right? The sound is just a little... The pistol symbol's wrong? Alright, well they got the wombo combo. The pistol sounds wrong. It sounds wrong. Like Cortana sounds great. Soldiers sound... I like a lot of this, but yeah. AR is okay. You want me to check resolution? Just in case.
Let's go find the map room. That will show us the location of Halo's control center. I've been able to pinpoint the main facility by cross-referencing Covenant survey data and religious texts.
Yeah, I'm not going to pause it. I'm just going to let it play.
I've marked the entrance with a nav point.
I love the water and they really nailed the visuals. Unreal Engine does a lot of work here. The shields look a little weird. Why no multiplayer? Yeah, they talked about that in an interview. I think it's a nonsense answer. I don't agree. They should have multiplayer. There's a lot of like hitching.
There, in the cliff wall. The silent cartographer is somewhere inside that facility.
It's really like fuzzy. Like they have
we have to get in there.
What's it called? What happened to that guy?
Location of the control center.
Is it motion blur? A screen grain? Film grain? I don't know if it's a film grain or what's going on, or if it's like the NVIDIA stuff. But it looks fuzzy, right? Like, I don't care. I'm absolutely going to play it. I'm literally going to play it. Oh, another... Man, when you load that new area, Unreal does this thing, and I learned this from the Returnal guys, it'll just hitch. So there's like this hitching issue that causes these massive frame drops, and it's an Unreal issue.
My analysis indicates that the map room should be at the bottom floor of this facility. Let's keep going inside. Don't let them lock the doors.
Something about it's just like, it's good, but it looks fun. Like I still think it looks fun, but it looks like frames are dropping, and like it's just
understanding of Halo's subsystems.
Something's just not
We
quite.
need to find a security override to get this door open.
I don't know how to say it. It feels a little off, right?
Go ahead, Cortana.
Hey, it's going all right, like a boss. I hadn't watched the Halo stuff yet, so I figured I'd do it while on stream.
The Covenant have impeded our progress.
Yeah, look at all those
We can't
hitches.
unless we can disable this installation's security system. Understood. We're still en route to the objective. I may be out of contact when we get there. Here are your orders.
I mean, if this is alpha, it's pretty damn good. Aggressive FSR, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's the dynamic resolution scaling. Or what's AMD? They have FSR2, right? Or are they on 3? Yeah, whatever. The hitching's driving me crazy, though. Do you all see the hitching?
It looks like there is a path into the interior.
The only thing I don't like is the hitching. Yeah, that's my biggest complaint. Does everybody see that, though? The micro stutters? Yeah, okay. I don't know what to call it. But that's definitely... That's got to get fixed. That's not going to work. I think this is the part where you go fight the hunters, and one of the original creators was saying, I put the rocks there for a reason. Because apparently you can just drive the Warthog up and just run over the hunters, and it's like, well, we made it that way for a reason, so that you would have to fight the hunters. Traversal stutter wire rope. I don't like it, man. It's got to get fixed. It's really bad. Yeah, bro. That sucks. This is supposed to be your first big encounter with the hunters. It establishes them as like a formidable opponent. It's something you should be scared of. So there's one grenade. Okay. Nah, bro. No. Well, you know I don't work anywhere now, right? It's just me on YouTube. That argument makes no sense when the hunters die with one pistol shot back in the day. No, they don't. They don't die with one pistol shot, do they? In what world? Chat, that's not accurate, is it? No shot. They die on one pistol shot. They did? Between the head and armor. I didn't do that. I was a scrub, I guess. Some people were commenting about how there's ADS now. I don't know how about that. Where's my PlayStation shirt? I got it. It's at the laundry. Oh, the stutters. That's gonna be so annoying when you're playing the game. But so far, I think that's my big negative. I'm just like, yeah, the stutters, they just gotta go. Yeah, this is a good fight. Come on. There's no way. They weren't that easy, were they? You know what? Maybe back in the day, I like didn't know about the lore of the pistol, so I was using like garbage weapons.
Use the holo panel to shut down the security system.
I feel like the longer the demo goes on, the fuzzier it
That
gets.
should open the door that leads into the main shaft.
Here's the question. Let's say this comes out and it does great on
We
all
need to go to
platforms,
the
right?
main
Like everybody
facility.
gets it.
Let's head back down the beach.
What's even the point of adding sprint? I think sprint is fine. They can do it where you feel like you're sprinting, but it doesn't actually do anything or doesn't actually accelerate your speed that much. There's games that do that. They have sprint, but you're not actually doing anything, right? This is Halo. This is the Halo Campaign Evolved remake. I haven't actually watched all the assets, so thought I would watch them and then probably have to call it a day because I got to go make dinner.
Bravo 22 was bringing
Got
us
started
some heavy
late.
weapons.
Ooh.
After I saw we were
The
up against
visuals are
hunters,
really on
I
point.
thought
The
you-
visuals are really good, though. There's some talk, like, I think there's comments about the grunt models. I don't know why they would not just change that. Why are you remaking my favorite game and then making it look and sound like trash? I think the pistol sounds bad. Oh, I don't like that. No, that's right. That's pretty close, right? Because there was the one that you could charge up. There's also a bunch of new weapons, they said. I don't remember this part. Was that there? I don't remember the crash ship. Was that always there, or is that a new thing? It's been a while. Do you feel this is a missed opportunity to deliver a retelling of the original story with revamped environments? The environments will be different and deeper level design and additional story beats. This feels like Anniversary 2.0. I mean, it's not completely one-to-one. They did say they are adding new stuff. They're adding 3 new intro missions, which are going to be with the Sergeant and Chief. And I imagine it's going to be when Chief went out and with support for like Grey Team and such. So I am excited about those aspects. The sprint, I think, is going to cause more problems than anything. If they are increasing his movement speed, you're just going to, like, destroy everything. My God, I just want to go play it. Like, I want to just... It does make me just want to go play. Destin, you sad? Xbox is finally dead. No, I'm okay, guys. I've been doing all right. Contrary to whatever randomness you've seen on X. I think I record my videos sometimes really late, like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. That's just like when I've had time to do it. And people are just like, Justin looks like he's been crying. I'm like, no. Guys, when your kids are up, when your kids keep you up all night because they're puking, like there's way bigger things in life to be worried about than Halo coming to PlayStation 5, personally. I think this looks good. I think this looks really, really good. Yeah, the kids have been sick, so. Just puts things in perspective. Sprint is not really a big deal. Is that the full demo, or did Paris or anybody? Because I know Paris had a thing. I know Ryan talked about it. And the only other thing we have is the round table. So I guess we go to the round table and watch that. I hadn't actually checked this out yet. Sprint can be toggled off. Yeah, but like, no one's going to do that. That's the full demo. Pretty good demo, man. Whoa, why does this render look bad? What the hell? Why did they master in 1080? Production team, what are you doing? All of your other assets are in 4K. You did the roundtable in 1080 at a low bitrate. Somebody made that mistake.
Evolved is the next project coming out of Halo Studios. It is the ultimate Halo CE campaign remake. It is coming to Xbox, PC, and for the first time, PlayStation. It'll be arriving next year. To talk more about it, we've got Dan, Max, and Greg from the development team. Guys, let's get into this. Why is this the right game for right now?
Why does it look like art? Because it's unreal.
I felt like there were certain things that were left unsaid. There were certain things that we weren't able to achieve at that time. There were certain things we weren't able to do.
It's a great time to revisit Combat Evolved for new players, for established Halo players, and maybe even for old friends playing on different
This is the way to
today,
introduce
to allow them to play
PlayStation into the fold, I think.
Going back to the Halo
I hope
thing
PlayStation
for the first time.
For the first time is really important.
Well, okay, I know I said I wouldn't pause. I think that for me, I'm really happy that PlayStation gamers who haven't played Halo especially, or Xbox gamers who've become PlayStation players, they're going to get to relive Halo 1. And I hope maybe after Campaign Evolved comes to PlayStation, like maybe bring the other games in the old form. That's what Metal Gear did, right? They did Metal Gear Volume 1, and then they started doing re-releases after that. I think that would be a good way to get PlayStation people in the fold. Halo is such a special game to me. Halo 3 is the reason I'm in the video game industry, period. So I'm super excited about this making its way over, and I really hope they see why it was so special, or why it still is special or could be special today.
And for them to be surprised by new content and feel like excited again about exploring the ring world.
For new players, this is the right time for you to jump in. Think of this as your introduction into this huge franchise we've been building for the past 25 years.
I had that
I'm curious
statue.
how you're going to focus on
Kotobukiya.
capturing the essence of the original, knowing that you need to evolve to kind of move the experience forward.
Yeah, from design, we don't take that lightly at all. Whenever
The
we make a
visuals are really
change,
good.
The number one thing was to be true to the original game.
For every one of those topics that comes up, there's someone who is incredibly passionate on the other side saying we can, like, that is sacred. We do not move that crate.
It's really about looking across, what we've learned over the years, what technology we've built, and how we can tie that back into this experience.
So in this game, up to 4 people can play the campaign together, regardless of which platform they're on. And then we're kicking it old school. We can play
I missed that
2-player
part.
co-op on consoles, on the couch together, just like we did back in the original.
Yeah, you better keep that.
What do you have
better
to
not
do
like have
differently
to
to
delete it.
account now for 4 people running around?
For different co-op counts, we will make some of the spaces larger. We also want to make sure we're authentic to the encounters themselves. So it's a balancing act
That's good to
between
know, Robert.
that difficulty tuning and making those encounters the right size for the right space.
I understand that we've done some special tune-up works to the beloved Warthog.
We have. There's a new seat, what I like to call the golf cart seat or the bumper seat. This is on the back of the Warthog, so now you can bring everyone with.
Mind if I join you?
Let's talk a little bit about one of my favorite aspects
Here's a
of
weird
the Halo
thing.
franchise.
I kind of wish they didn't, because that's a memory that you would make with your friends, right? You leave your friend to have to run, and you would kind of laugh at them and you kind of tease each other. The fact that they ended up adding that extra seat, I don't know. I kind of wish they would have left it the way it was.
What is a skull? What's cool about it? What does it do?
A skull is a gameplay modifier, generally mean-spirited. It makes the game more challenging for the player.
The combination, the pairing of these different skulls and how that's going to create that new gameplay experience. Huge
it's
amount
good?
of replay options for folks.
I love the replayability that skulls bring to a campaign. There's almost endless variety.
We have dozens of skulls this time.
The most that we've ever had in a Halo game.
Are you a lasso guy? I think you yourself told me that you don't think anyone would ever be able to complete this game with legendary all skulls on.
I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot. And so if you can do a true legendary all skulls on run, let us know. Because I'd love to see it.
Yeah, people will be able to do
that'd
it.
be really hard.
If there's one thing that this community has shown us is do not underestimate them, and they will find a way.
I think with the success of Metal Gear Solid Delta, even with the performance problems, that this game is going to do well, because you're going to get the hardcore enthusiasts who just jump in and eat it up and have a great time with it. And then you're also going to get, new players to the game who are experiencing it for the first time and recognize why it's special. So I think they are going to have that going for them. The question is, I don't really understand why several key creators weren't given access. That's strange. I'm not even talking about myself. I'm talking about some of the other people. I was surprised to see that. It just doesn't really make sense to me. So Mint Blitz didn't get in. Katarn didn't get in. Hidden Xperia didn't get in. Jack Frags was in, and Jack Frags did a really good video, but it's strange. Why is he talking like he's never seen this? Wait, what? Yeah, so major Halo content creators, Maddie didn't get in. Not sure if that is that big though. Well, I mean, Maddie's an Xbox guy. Who are these people? These are people from the Halo community that Halo fans like myself know, because they have consistently covered Halo just over the years. They have been the biggest champions about Halo and wanting to see it succeed. And they're all sort of wait, what? Why weren't we invited to the party? It was surprising.
So Halo's always been known for its sandbox. How has this evolved?
We made sure that anything we included isn't going to drastically change the way the game plays, to change the sandbox in a drastic way, but there's some really fun kind of additions, and that's across, enemies, weapons, vehicles, things that in the original CE you weren't able to do before that you now can. You finally killed the elite with the sword. That weapon hits the floor and you can pick that up and just really take it to the enemy.
I think that's okay. I think allowing you to pick up the sword is cool. I don't like how they changed the pistol. I think that's bad.
Painstakingly remodeled, rebuilt, higher fidelity. How do all these things kind of come to life?
That comes across through
no multiplayer.
The way they look,
I think they're going to
the way
bring
they
infinite
sound,
multiplayer over,
the effects,
but they're waiting to drop
actual
that
panels
beat.
on the weapons themselves, the ammo counters.
With Unreal, the fully dynamic lighting within Lumen allows us to get those effects, right? That rich plasma lighting
Small
up and
piece of
brightening the
feedback
environment.
on the AR. I think
Of course, one of the hallmark elements of Halo
display
CE
looks
is
a
what
little off to
becomes
me.
kind of a
I don't know
three-way
why.
battle with the introduction of the Flood.
There was quite a bit of development between Halo CE and 3.
Thanks,
to
C.
kind of
Marvel.
how the
Yeah,
Flood
man.
behaved and
I've
just how
gone
they
hard on
interacted
my
with the
Halo
player.
coverage
So
over the
we've
years.
pulled a lot of those Flood behaviors into this game.
And I would say this is a learning specifically from CE to Anniversary, which is just kind of that mood, the atmosphere, the tension, the horror, and really delivering on that from the way that we stage the encounters and the setup and how we reveal the Flood.
In Halo Legacy, there were
I think those are
some
gonna be the
pure
biggest
form
changes, the
units.
Flood
We've
stuff.
pulled in a familiar friend, familiar fiend, if you will, to challenge the player.
Talk to me just a little bit about how we're approaching the narrative aspects to bring it up to the same level as the rest of this game.
Oh yeah, the rework
We wanna tell an
cutscenes. I like
authentic
this
story,
part
and we
personally.
want to level up the cinematics from the source.
I think I did legendary for one,
we didn't just
3.
kind of put a new
I
coat
don't know
of
if I did
paint
it for
over the
2.
original cinematics, right? We ended up revisiting exactly how
Maybe
they
2
were
Anniversary.
blocked out, how they were sequenced, how they were put together, and we've done that across the board.
We have access to original source assets, original source code, and access
Nice.
to the original storyboards. We are remastering, remixing the music to go along with these cinematics.
We also had the core principal cast come in and re-record all the lines.
How much firepower would you need to crack one of the engine shields?
This really provides a degree of fidelity that we weren't able to do for Halo Anniversary.
Now would be a very good time to leave.
I'm super excited that this game will include 3 brand new
I like this a lot.
bonus missions. Tell me a
There's
little bit
so
about
much
that.
from the
It
books
was
they could
really
jump into
important
with that.
we preserve the original story as it is. So these missions specifically are meant to be a prequel, a setup for the main course. These new missions are going to offer some new opportunities for character interactions, maybe between Chief and Johnson.
Okay, hypothetical scenario. We get to see the day that all the soldiers get augmented and then the healing process, and then you're put on your first mission as a Spartan. And it's more like ODST. Man, they could do so many cool things with those first 3 missions. There's so much cool stuff they could do. That's one of the things I'm most excited about.
And
We've got some new mechanics, maybe some new AI behaviors, things that haven't been done before in Halo CE.
I think we're just getting started.
I don't think they would let you do a mission pre-augmentation,
So
but
where
yeah.
are we right now at this stage in development? What can you share
Well,
with
they
us?
could talk
In the
about
past few weeks,
Halsey
we've been
more.
able to start engaging and sending builds out to some of our community members.
we can now
Oh, I'm sorry. What? What was that?
So where are we right now at this stage in development? What can you share with us?
In the past few weeks, we've been able to start engaging and sending builds out to some of our community members.
Oh, really?
we can
Thanks,
now
guys.
see so many of the elements of the level really coming together.
There's a point in
Don't
every
forget
game's
about your old
life
pal
cycle where
Destin.
It kind of just comes online.
Seeing really high fidelity versions of the cinematics, elements of the sandbox and encounter tweaks and the lighting.
You can go to someone's desk and give feedback live on an experience, and to me, that's like a really
I
exciting.
love the
time.
worms. They look really
The
good.
ultimate love letter to the game that started it all. I would call upon our entire Halo community to welcome with open arms.
But not all. Let's hear what he said again. Sorry.
And to me, that's like a really exciting time in game development.
The ultimate love letter to the game that started it all. I would call upon our entire Halo community to welcome with open arms this next generation of players. I'm excited to just relive these experiences again for the first time.
I will when it comes out in 2026. Destin, you have a podcast. What if you leak something out? What am I going to leak out? I think the only time I've ever leaked something, I accidentally had one frame in a video that was like a flash frame, and apparently it was like a thing. It was for Evolve. I felt so bad about it. It was just a mistake in the edit, but yeah, I think that's the only time I've accidentally leaked something as far as I know. Anyway, okay, so watching that marketing material, I'm actually pretty excited. I think they have the most potential to do something really, really okay, or really, really okay, really, really cool with those prequel missions. I think that's where there is a chance to see some really, really cool stuff. I hadn't watched all of those Halo things. Did you reinstall MCC? What do you mean reinstall, Darth Monkey? You don't got to reinstall it if it never left your machine, my friend. Let me see here. Reinstall? What are we talking about? Reinstall. Boom, let's go. Reinstall. What are you talking about? I haven't played it very much on Steam. It looks like only 11 hours on Steam. No, that's when you leave. It's not that big. It's not that like cumbersome or anything like that. You know, there's a lot of stories that I could go over. I think there was only one more that I wanted to go over. So, hyped for the new Halo game. Oh, I thought this was interesting. I don't know what this is about, but apparently Sean Murray like whispered to Larry Erb, and it's like Master Chief comes to PlayStation, Halo campaign evolved, Lance's on PS5, Micah Barr's laughing. So these guys know something. I don't really get the joke, but apparently those two know something about what's going on with gaming. I thought it was pretty weird that Micah Barr said, like, I'm happy that Halo was on PlayStation and Steam, embraced the publisher strategy, and moved beyond the pain finally. What? I think Xbox has been preparing people for this for like 2 years. So I was a little surprised that an executive at the company he knew that this was coming. It's like, is he referencing his pain or like the community's pain? Because I haven't seen a lot of Xbox fans like losing their shit over this or anything like that. But I've seen that sentiment, but like from other people who seem to be interpreting that. The only other thing I did want to talk about PlayStation because it came up a little bit in the stream. September 2025 US video game data. Fun fact: the PlayStation 5 has now surpassed the PlayStation 3 in lifetime installed base. Oh, I thought it was head for PS4. It just beat the PS3. Okay, well the PS3 sold like 70 mil. That's cool though. So that's cool. Source Circana retail tracking. Shout out to Maki on the install base forum for reminding me about this one. Very cool detail, Matt. Do we know if the PS5 is caught up to the PS4 yet? In the US, PS5 has been ahead of PS4. This is his old data point on a time-aligned basis for a very long time. As of September this year, month 59 in market, PS5 is ahead of PS4 by 4.6%. So I'm going to guess if it's 4.6%, in the US, that means they are probably 1.2% behind globally in terms of sales. And speaking of wins, apparently Ghost Yote has also been doing exceptionally well for the company. But I'm going to have to dive into that one a little bit more, but it is a notable story that PlayStation is doing so well. The question is, will it beat the PS4? It's something I'm really curious about for two reasons. Xbox is done. Like they're done. They're I'm going to be surprised if they even get to 35 million units because they won't announce their console sales, and every earnings call is just, Xbox is selling consoles terribly, right? That's all we ever hear from Xbox. Cool. So, I am curious what PlayStation 5 is going to end up doing. Like, do we think it actually will surpass the PS4? And if it does, what does that mean about like where the industry is going from there? I don't know. I'm really curious about it. It's just definitely something to keep an eye on. I still got my PS3, man. I really want to play through Metal Gear 4 again. I have so many games I want to play, but even just this year, I don't even think I'm going to get through all of them. I've been streaming 2 hours 17. We did a little bit of a longer stream today. I think that's everything, though. I got to watch the Halo stuff with y'all. We got to talk about leadership and how I disagree with some of the interpretations of statements from other people in the industry. But I do think, on the one hand, I do think that a lot of the criticism Xbox is getting is warranted. If a rumor can come out that Target is pulling your stock and people say, yeah, that kind of makes sense, that is a freaking problem for your brand. That is a megaton problem that you're going to have to address. At the same time, I think it's reasonable to ask people to verify some of these claims when it's as easy as a phone call or just walking into your store. You know, it's very easy. We made Halo buddies. Sure did. I got to get out of here, though. Sounds like wife and the kids are raring to go for dinner. So thank you so much for watching. Everybody, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, turn on my content goes live. Appreciate y'all hanging out. It was a good time. Thanks so much to the members, Christopher Eddy, Phil Roney here in chat, and Aries EMS. I do really, really appreciate you. I'm going to get out of here, but before I go, be sure to check out this video that I will link to, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.